Okay, we have one, Mr. Anderson.
Nobody understands anymore about the disaster that we have had here in Northeast Tennessee, what I do. I know this road's got to be rebuilt, the railroad's got to be rebuilt, so on and so forth. Folks, I called the JHL News 2 weeks ago. Don't believe what I want. And she told me, she said, Mr. Anderson, said, you're not the first one that ever called and complained about this. I said, if it's newsworthy, I said, I'll give you my name, number, so on and so forth, which I never did hear. Then I know something to use that evening, it was another deal in Washington, the pain for the road. But we have got approximately 3/8 of a mile. There, you agree with me on that? From where the trucks come under the railroad down to Unicorn Drive. Folks, this has been left wide open since that road was rebuilt to the interstate. Now we've got all these trucks in here. I noticed this afternoon, one from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm supposed to part of these trucks are probably out of Kentucky because the outfit out of Kentucky is the one that's secondhand information, but it's good information. That summer's paper brought them in to get the rock out. The CSX has ordered 750,000 tons themselves. And I would say that has been expanded since they stopped and get stuff out of it. But that's my opinion on that. But you take 20 ton at a time, which I know every truck goes out there has 20 ton or maybe better. That's 3,750 loads coming out of that road. You people are not getting one dime of tax revenue off of what's coming out. Tear your road off, please. Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
The dust, the speed of these trucks. When the chief's down there, everything's good. It's like a little third grader with a picture in the window. Everything quiet, so on and so forth. The minute he leaves, out back, trucks coming out of this afternoon, 50 mile an hour, and go down my mind, and the dust absolutely boiled. Now, they did have a sweeper up there this afternoon. I saw it had done when I was going over to the neighbor. And it had done a little bit down to the crossroads with real golf. But nothing on below, and it looked like what it had done virtually around. Very, very little. Which, I don't know how many of you all know that quarry changed hands with ownership again. This is the game that these quarries play. They'll stay 5, 6, 7 years. It suits put against them, which I had a suit going against blue water until I turned to kill it. Okay? Then Martin Marietta owns that down there. They own these little work. That one over Russell, over Abington, and I don't know what it is. But anyway, the railroad, I know it's going to be rebuilt. There was a piece of paper about, what it was costing them to go like 400 miles around. Now, since the shops left Irwin and everything, you people live here in Unicorn. I know you can hear the train. Listen, how many trains do you hear coming through here in Unicorn? It's minor. It is very minor. But I understand why they want the track built back, because that's their business, so on. And first time I ever talked to you, I mentioned what I was worth. And that man told me exactly what I was going to tell him, what was going to happen down there if a handle hadn't got on this road and stuff. It's going to be painted on blue because they're going to run out of rock. They got to get the distance that way. They're going to right down here on the level. But, you know, what I think needs to be done is one of two things. Speed bumps from the bridges down, that way it doesn't interfere with the people that live in the back of the bridges. They don't want to go across the speed bump, they can go down Bill Collins. Or they, if you don't afford it, put an officer down there with those trucks are running, which hopefully this thing shuts back down after all this got out. Rebuild these roads and everything. Do that and then go back and assess either Summers, Martin Marietta, or whoever is responsible for all these trucks being in here with the cost of that man's salary, his fringe, plus the use of the people. But this thing, the dust down there is ridiculous, absolutely, and the speed of these trucks. These are boys that's in here out of state. But I'm asking you folks for help. And you know, whether you agree with me or you disagree with me, please. That's all.
Mr. Anderson, I'd like to respond to you because this has been a problem for I agree with you totally. My car looks like it's got concrete all over it, and just from driving down, I've been blocked in and out. Trucks are flying down. One of the things I talked with the mayor and vice mayor about the other day, and that we really need to make sure that they do, and that's to put some cover over that as they're flying down at 50 miles an hour. And it's not just down to the to Unicoi Drive, it's all the way down because I travel Unicoi Drive. The other thing is, my big concern to everyone, and I don't even know where to start, Austin, maybe you could help us here on who to talk to. Who's in control of this? I know these things. I mean, my house, my property's torn all to pieces. My concern is who's watching them? Who's making sure that our community is not being ripped apart by all of these people from outside coming in, flying in, taking our resources and putting them back together? Are they doing it appropriately? And who's supervising this? We've got trucks from all over. Some of them say Summers Taylor, many of them don't. The other day I tried to get them to a meeting here and I couldn't. There were 3 blocking the road here in front of Black Diamond, and you couldn't get through, and they wouldn't move. It's just rudeness. It's a safety issue, but my biggest concern, other than what they're doing to our infrastructure, is who is watching what they're doing to make sure that the roads, the infrastructure, there's got to be somebody that's actually watching over this. And if nobody's watching over it, then it's just helter-skelter out there. You've got trucks running in and out like crazy. I went to downtown Irvine the other day, and it was worse than here. And it just depends on the time of day. I have not slept since this all started because the trucks are running all the time. I don't know if you're hearing that. You're right there close to them, but I hear them. And they're running up and down, and they start about 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're hitting it hard and heavy, and it's nonstop. And when you hit 4 or 5 going in one direction, you hit 8 or 9 coming back the other direction. Not only is it putting our buses at risk, our cars, our automobiles, but the biggest thing is, what is it doing to our community? And I know that's controversial, and I know there are people that don't like it. I've read all of the stuff about it. I understand we have to rebuild. I am a person who is a victim of Hurricane Helene when tornadoes triangulated in my house and barn. And I understand the need to put everything back. But somebody's got to be watching what's going on here. And I'd like to know who that person is. Or not person, but who the companies are that are doing this. And we need to cover those trucks. I request that their trucks are covered. And we got to get a handle on this because they're out of control around here. They're running through our towns, the streets, ripping and tearing things up. who knows what they're doing. And I don't feel safe and I don't feel comfortable. And I certainly don't like the constant confusion there, you know. Does anybody in the room have an answer as to who to contact? Because I don't know, but I'll find out, but I have no idea. And I've been concerned about it for a long time. Yes, ma'am. Podium.
Well, to the podium, the microphones, and the I agree with everything he said. But, you know, these big trucks, they pay thousands of dollars a year for tax to put on their trucks, they have to get insurance to work. And I think maybe everything you said is correct too. Maybe we need to connect with them, they're down at the emergency center in Ireland. I mean, you pull out right down there, this road looks like, look, it's crumbling. It's still together, but it's crumbling. And, you know, there's trucks here from California. There's trucks here from, there's not just one company got all these jobs. Different jobs are bid out.
I know that. That's my point.
But FEMA would be the person, there's people down there in the emergency center, if anybody with the town wants to go down there, that might be the first place to go talk to, because all these trucks are contracted through FEMA.
I would, EMA would be your first.
You know, the trucks can't have to pay the driver.
EMA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and where would that be located? That's not FEMA, is it?
We got, well, yeah, FEMA's federal emergency management.
FEMA's not doing
got
too much to
TEMA.
respond to all of this. There are a lot of people
Right. But you got
requesting.
TEMA, which is Tennessee, and then Jimmy Irwin, your local EMA director.
FEMA. Unemployment office is down there with Jimmy Irvin at the old armory. And this is a disaster, and even though the disaster didn't hit on these roads, the disaster is affecting this town, and that might be the first place. The only thing I've seen FEMA coming up with, and I know a lot of people work at these deals, FEMA and FEMA's just about big to do infrastructure. They're helping build roads, they're getting electricity, water, sewer, power, all this stuff, but the individuals, they're not doing that much for individuals. So as a town, maybe if the town would apply for some help with the road, you might get it. They got all kinds of special everything right now if you get the right person. I mean, our attorney might tell you better, but, you know, these trucks, they think taxes for tax. And I agree they need to be slowed down. I mean, I was going across the road. They like to dark, but we can't make them quit running, but we can make them slow down.
I'm not requesting that they quit running, but I do think they need to be under control, and we need to know what they're doing and where they're doing it.
Yeah, I think FEMA might be a place to get that first information.
But, you know, it's a legitimate business. I have no problem with that. But we sit down there and we leave this does and everything, which, no, it's not good. That's for sure. But Friday afternoon, you could see dust all the way to Garland Road. That's no far I can see, but that's coming off the truck.
And that's me, and that's what we breathe.
And then, what David's saying, I'll have to say, probably 90% of it coming out our new, or 75% anyway. But there's a lot of trucks that come out there, but this, that they're carrying out of work and putting on the road down there, that's where all the dust is coming. You know, take a bag line, that's exactly what they do. Like a brown line, or it's not brown, it's
Awesome.
just chips, which come off the line. But you take what's going on now, that's just a small token of what's going to go on. What over runs out of law, and all that moves back. So I think you people need to make a president at this time, and put the speed up thing, put the officers down there. If somebody got a better idea, I appreciate it.
Well, dude, you were talking about jail, right?
Yeah.
Voter rights. And I agree with you, you know, like a hell of taxes, a lot of insurance, everything else. I agree with everything. But if we don't get together and discuss this, because I mean, you try to, you play a point. And you know, you need to have something, you need to have somebody, at least
but they gotta figure out a better way, not infringe on the communities.
And before it used to, they drove water.
Well, it's rained or snowed every day. I mean, we've got water on the roads. We've had a lot of water.
There's the fastest, the right, and industrial one, they have to stop the trucks that one particular day. And they don't require them to put down water before those trucks come up. So if they do it down there, they can do it on your street.
The trucks that I've gotten behind have not had any covering, and they're blowing that stuff everywhere. And that would help some.
It's just not here, it's, go down Second Street, that's what we call it. It's worse there. It's like a city list, it rains.
I mean, it's a tragedy, you know, the job has to be done, but, you know,
It's making a bad situation worse.
It is, and it's gonna cost money for everyone around here. In the long run, when that's done and gone, we will have to pick up the pieces and pay the bills for the damage that was done during this. I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not saying, and I certainly wouldn't suggest shutting anybody down. We don't have that kind of power anyway. I am saying we got to get a handle on what's happening to our community, and we really need to work together with Irwin and Unicoi County, and we need to get a game plan, because it just looks right now like everything's running amok all over the place.
and it's like, Judy, you know, your son goes out there and makes mess on the highways, and we can respond.
They go, it's going right into that.
You know, it's like all comes down to respect.
That's just how it is.
But there's no respect.
And if these things are going to be, people be the first one to contact, speaking to the point, that, you know, we're smiling. We have to think what we are, and then we're going to parameters. But I think that's the place. You know, the way it's possible, we don't want to shut nobody down, we want to get done as soon as you can. But we've got people that's going to live out here too. And what do you do in other communities? Explain to people, you know, they'll ask you, they'll act like they don't know anything. Did you go out and look to get some response? I know some stories that I can't tell them. And you just keep pounding the drum, they'll have to do something about it. And if nothing else, call our governor and say, Department of Transportation, and say, you know, you was out here when the disaster came, now we got these problems that's affecting our citizens. Can you send somebody out from your Department of Transportation and take a look here in our local community, what's happened to us? We happen to have the quarry. That gives us opportunity to see every truck working in East Tennessee. And I mean, they're coming from this quarry, they're coming from one pocket. Again, there's trucks here, I could name about 10 different trucking companies. There's some here, yonder, and everywhere else. And, you know, these men's tired, they're all the time. And like you said, they don't care if they love us, they're just trying to get their day.
We don't care if they run over you, and that's an issue.
No, I live right here, so I have to sit and wait sometimes Saturday nights to get pulled out, so. But there has to be a way for everybody to live happily and let them work. It, to me, they have to keep their road like down. It's not a big deal. I mean, they got rushes for that, they got water trucks. You know, they do this stuff everywhere. It's not like we're asking them to build a good road. It's,
Yeah, you're right, I think y'all be quick to do it, they're just not doing it.
nobody's expecting it.
Mr. Anderson, when you say, oh, that party, Martin Marietta, big defense contractor. Many.
I can imagine how folks with allergies or even lung cancer, various lung diseases are dealing with that, because it's tough. You're breathing all that junk, in addition to everything else going on.
I had eye surgery last week. Which I called in out more than I should have been out. Last Friday afternoon. No doubt I got this test in this right eye, and I knew.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming in and talking, because I was going to bring that up tonight, and I know everybody else here is concerned. We're all dealing with it. It's not like it's just a few of us. We're all dealing with it. It's everywhere. And the sad thing thing is, knowing what to do about it and knowing where to start and continuing. I had the same problem with the railroad many years ago. I won't go into that detail, but I followed all the way through from Florida, everywhere. I'll CSX all the way up the line until we got to Washington, D.C. And that finally stopped them from raising the track so high you couldn't see to get over to the other side. And the other issue was not only were they raising the tracks and didn't care that we couldn't see to the other side, but the people that I talked to in South Carolina, Florida, various places, they weren't doing anything. They were concerned about it. And that's what they said. It's not our problem. Well, you are the corporate headquarters of CSX, so why is it not your problem? So that's what happens until you go to the very top and continue pushing, but you have to have some leverage. And I agree, as a town, we're going to have to start doing something.
The Department of Tennessee, 107, they're working at the 107, there's a contract at that. The big trucks are going up that affects state of Tennessee's money on transportation. This over here goes with the interstate. This over here goes with right here. So all these roads are deteriorating every time they drive up. The interstate, look, the right side's done going out of it. East and west now. When they get done, it's a little thing. But what we're talking about is living here, living through the rebuilding time. And then all these things going to happen somewhere. So just saying.
Well, I think we've all agreed, and I think everything's been said is right. We just need to do something about it. And it's like, Mr. Ashton talked about speed humps. Are we liable if somebody tires up a vehicle speed hump?
More than likely, but just so you'll know, while we were discussing this, I sent an email to Tom Seeley, he's the Irwin city attorney, to see if, because like Debbie said, you go downtown Irwin, it's thick as it can be. So I reached out to him and say, hey, what are y'all doing about the dust and all that? That way we're all on the same page. So, yeah.
Thank you for reaching out to him. Although he was one of the ones that represented the quarry before. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest or not. I don't know if they know what's going on.
But he's the city attorney for Irwin.
I know. It's being.
And this is like, he asked me, said, what do you think of speed humps? I said, I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. I don't like nothing about it. And it may be the only way some people, they don't think you said it with the bar on the road down to get Court Drive. And you do have another way out if you don't want to go over. So I think that's an option we can look at.
I hope I'm wrong, but they kind of, one of the trucks, I think I mean stop.
No, they're going to hit someone. You're right.
Somebody is going to get killed, they'll be a week married and killed there.
Right.
Somebody's man got 3 or 4 kids and whatever.
But Mr. Anderson,
I hate to say that, but it's.
But somebody, I think Mr. Anderson, like the remark, we're not getting any sales tax. If we don't used to get sales tax out of the quarry state, why are we not getting any now?
I don't know that we're not, I'm not privileged to that information anymore, because I'm not sitting in court. But whoever, was here before Tyler, if they had access to that information.
We should have been getting it for every truck right now.
Well, when it was open to, individuals.
Yeah.
You can always pay tax on it.
You can say on tax exempt. That's what I tried to get through other Alderman's.
Mr. Anderson, who, after the quarry was sold, the blue water, who bought it after blue water?
Martin Marietta. That's
Okay,
the original.
so Summers never owned the quarry.
No. What they did, they went in and bought all the loose rock. This came from the summer floor. That you what going on. And everything. And then they brought in, I don't know, a loose rock is what's laying here on the floor. He got to go. big Harris quarry operation. I don't know that. But let's go back to the tax thing. If the city of Unicoi buys any kind of rock, you all are a municipality, you do not pay a dime. Any government office, any state office, and see, this rock is all going to railroad taxes then. Whoever's doing the work down on 107, or 81, their taxes, nobody's paying a dime tax. And I never could get anybody to understand that. Doesn't show mine. But if you are tax exempt, and I go up there and get a load of rock, put it down on my phone, I've got a tax exempt slip in my bill folder here, that I give them, they make a copy of it, it's for agricultural use, I do not pay a dime. But now, if he goes up there and buys a load of rock for a driveway, she pays tax. Exactly. But your state, federal, something. No. Not at all. But that's where I have always fallen out with the people that have been here prior to you. Is, you know, is there a possibility y'all go back and look at some of your yearly tax revenue back to 2020, back to 2016, see how much tax revenue y'all collect? That'd be mine.
That's confidential, and the only person that has access to that information is the city recorder, it's the stylist information. Nobody can, you can't even discuss it at a meeting as to how much sales tax any business in the town of Unicoi pays.
Okay, I had no idea on that.
Yeah, it's very confidential.
You know, that's where
I can say we were getting tax revenue from Blue Water.
That's something to look into because way back when, you would think they don't pay for their rock, although there's a time they go around the town. And it depends on what's wrong with that rock going on, whether that ticket is taxed or not. And the way CSX is a corporation, it's not a municipality, and they should be paying tax by it. He said I would. So, I
Well,
don't know.
that would be something that, an auditor, sales tax revenue, state of Tennessee would go and audit their records and see who they're selling rock to, who's paying tax, who isn't. All we know is how much the portion is of the town per business.
If certain papers follow their own law, they follow it as a product. I don't know how that's looked at, but if they're buying through the quarry, if they're putting them on my road or your road, they should be paying tax. If they're putting them on the road for the county employee, they wouldn't be paying tax. So I don't know if everybody's ever paying attention to that or not.
Well, that's not anything the town has any control over. That would be the state of Tennessee and Department of Revenue, and that would be coming through a type of audit. They do send auditors out to different businesses. But that's not anything that we have control over.
I think it also depends on how they're buying it. If the person buying it, is buying the gravel, that's all. But it would depend on how they were buying the gravel, I think. I forgot where I was going with that, but I think about, I will tell you again.
That's what I was saying about Southern Taylor, if they're working for Mayor Hughes, they should have to pay tax.
Oh, well, I'll say it depends on if somebody Taylor is buying,
The job site.
or if they are buying it and selling. So if somebody Taylor is buying this gravel, from my understanding, and then they're turning around and selling it to their customer, then Summers is Taylor. Off and off. Correct. Is my understanding. Summers and Taylor is so big, they might have something else there. But that's my understanding of how that works.
there any other comments? Okay, old business. Any old business?
No,
Unfinished business?
no.
Other business, none. We got new business. Let's have a presentation with CPA. It's on our audit fiscal year 23-24, the new seats that will be here. So do I hear a motion just to table that for next month?
Motion to table, so next month. Second.
Any questions? Discussion? Debbie, you want to call the roll?
Alderman Gay,
Yes.
Alderman Lennon,
Yes.
Alderman Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Redford,
Yes.
Mayor McIntyre.
Yes. We have an indemnity policy for the town of Unicoi. That's for leave of absence if you're injured at work. That's something that we did not have. So we've got that policy. Ours, throw that up. And do I hear a motion?
Second.
Discussion?
Todd, you want to iterate some on that? You're the one that wrote that up.
And this is the standard, workman's comp policy that, our insurance carrier said we needed to have in the employee handbook.
And you didn't have to update that much on it, just a small amount on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it basically just plug it in. Yeah, we didn't have one, so I just took the standard one that, the state uses.
Deborah, you'll call up?
Alderman Gay,
Yes.
Alderman Lennon,
Yes.
Alderman Phillips,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Redford,
Yes.
Mayor McIntyre.
Yes. Now we'll have economic development policy. What?
You say finally.
No. I said that out loud.
I heard you in your mind.
No, there's a few things going on, it's a busy few months, so, we'll have to make the best of the time. So, main points to cover on that discussion that we just had, but now's probably not the time to do it, because there's still a lot of questions, especially as it would affect the town of Unicoi, because Unicoi is not an applicant for public assistance, step one. And so things like what's going on with the roads. Right now, Irwin is just bracing to have to bear the cost of the wear and tear because it wasn't technically affected by the disaster, affected by the wear and tear recovery effort. And we need to keep doing research to figure out if there's a way to connect those two. But in the scoping meeting, that's what wear and tear was not covered. And, I'll tell you, living in Irwin, on Elm Street, it's a special level of hectic last, few months. Moreover, I think we got to also raise as a community that if we're going to make the best decisions for us, that we have to be the ones to do them.
Right.
The federal government has its wheelhouse, FEMA, TDOT has theirs, TMA theirs, and they all go into these procedures. So we got to look out for us to make sure that we get, the right things accomplished. And, it's about to go over, we'll sort of explain more about that and kind of how we've had to carve our own path towards our recovery, especially for the industrial part. So, as it might be anticipated, my job changed a whole lot on September 27th. It's more involvement. I'm Austin Finch, Economic Development Director for Rural Utilities, also Executive Director for the Joint Economic Development Board. So, really involved in this process. FEMA, nobody's seeing what has happened to the industrial core as what happened to us. This is difficult,
Right.
extremely bad, and there's not an immediate plan. FEMA didn't come in and lay out a master plan and said, here's how we recover this. trying to find the right people who can help them with the right things. And they are currently offering zero assistance to individuals in that work. The public road, the utilities, and the public pieces. But the industries themselves would only qualify as an individual applicant, which would entitle them to $42,500 for 20 million plus in damages for each, up to, store on the exact numbers, but it's been a little chaotic. So, basically, we've had to try to find ways to create a strategy out of this for them. And they all want to rebuild back. All those 6 industries affected through there. Like I said, 250 jobs, they want to come back. But how we're going to do that is still be determined. Only one had flood insurance because it was not in an expected flood plain. It was in a 500-year plus flood plain, which does not require flood insurance. The only one that had it was because they had a national blanket policy. So we're exploring avenues to go from there. And what this represents, countywide, will impact all of us, the amount who live in this county. 15% of utility revenue came from that industrial park alone. And then in the total flood damage, we lost $70 million in taxable property for the county. It's going to affect budgets, at that level as well. So getting these businesses going again is impactful across the board. So what we've done, again, to try to figure out what options exist outside, even the process, we assembled a task force with state economic development, TVA, state workforce development, labor department, University Development District. The team up is to figure out how we can, get these industries back on their feet. We found priorities in the removal, a temporary road, and then utility restoration. So if we can achieve those things, then they can begin rebuilding themselves. And the temporary road piece has been a particular headache to figure out because the FEMA is not going to just fund that, especially one that's not going to be sustainable, as far as long-term recovery efforts. So luckily, we have managed to find funding from the state so that they managed to work out a special deal list for us to fund that temporary road. And now we're working on getting the easements that we require, and we released the RFP to the contractor who's going to actually build this. And we're in the process called submitted stabilization, which can actually be the river silt that's currently the biggest bunch of muddy mess, and actually turn it into something more solid. And if we can get this accomplished, then the industries will actually have a chance to start reconstruction efforts. So that's been big wins. They've had a lot of politicking, a lot of showing the right people the right damage, and a lot of figuring out different avenues, but we're getting there. And we've also invited the State Commissioner of Economic Development to come to be here this Friday. And we're going to let the industry meet and directly tell their story and talk about what the gaps are. The only thing coming from the federal level is the option for loans from the Small Business Administration. But those loans max out at $2.5 million. And it gets a loan at 5 to 8%. And so, and then you're only, that'd be like, like a 10th of the way there in some cases with those loans. So how are we going to fill gaps, for these folks and help them get back on their feet? And, hopefully we find some more ways to maneuver this and finding options for it. But it's a very, very critical operation. And, again, nobody's made it easy. We have to do all this at a local level. We reach out to how to put together a strategy. But we're doing it. And it's going to happen. So, other things, any questions about that? Or on this other? All right.
So is your meeting Friday? I'm sorry. I was just going to say the meeting Friday, is that open to the public? Is that a private meeting, or is it just with industry, or what is that about?
So it is a private meeting between the commissioner
Okay.
and the state of Tennessee, like Chris Farmer, I think, this meeting, I think probably supposed to be a public meeting, but ideally it's just to let them, tell their story and let those very high profile situations be communicated to high profile.
So to piggyback off that question quickly, Charles, if I may, so do you have anything planned so that the public, everyone involved in Unicoi County and beyond, that we can get together and talk and say the things that Mr. Anderson has said tonight, this evening, and see what kind of answers we're getting as a group, because one or two going in, I've already talked to FEMA and I'm not getting anywhere. So, I'm just saying, we need to show up in force, but we also need to have, we need to be organized, and we need to sit there and do it in a professional way. So is there anything coming up that the people, the citizens can meet, and certainly the local government can meet?
So let's say that's kind of the various thing, because of, I guess, what role should I play? What role should the town government play? Kind of where that intersects, right now.
Just as facilitator.
So I've somewhat become disaster response facilitator in a more holistic way. But the economic development legal house is really more focused on industry, keeping jobs, the infrastructure related industry, and those pieces. And I have been involved in setting up a volunteer resource center that we use to connect individual needs with folks who want to volunteer, help set that up. That feels more like a secondary duty. I was in a position to do so and did so. I think what we want to do is really facilitate the leadership of the county to come together and figure out how we address the individual needs. Because a lot of it's going to come down to, the ultimate authority holders are the states, the BMAs, or the county commission. The role that I'm in, I've learned a lot just from taking the effort and dealing with all bureaucratic nightmares and figuring those things out and having a true best interest in the care of my county more than just care for my individual job as well. That's not me, passing about or anything like that, but it's, trying to focus in on, tasks that have been delegated to me officially.
So the answer is no, we don't have anything coming up. So that, I guess what we need to try to do as a town, or, get together with Glenn White and Bubba Eagley, and to try to get something going so we can meet and talk and publicly state what's going on and what we're not happy with in terms of rebuilding. So we're just going to have to do it on our own. And so we really need somebody to speak for us and get it, be, like you said, the facilitator to fill the gap. But we've got to get moving on this before we're totally inundated with all of these people coming in. And the door's wide open, so they're coming. They're coming.
I mean, having to facilitate, whenever possible. And, I've been pushing for more cooperation, especially between the county and kind of early because of the way it's been impacted. We're now seeing kind of an ancillary effect on kind of meaningful way. Makes us realize this is a bigger conversation.
Yes.
That needs to be had.
And we feel left out of it. That. We voiced that to you before. We feel left out on this end of the town. That's why we want to keep our town.
Yeah.
But we really are, we don't get a lot of representation. So we know we've got to fight to be heard.
Yeah.
And we don't get that in the newspaper either, folks.
Yeah. Well, let's say in this particular case, a lot of the attention is there because of what the impacts are also. I think we all understand that. So, but the sort of damage to spreaders here, effects on our quality of life and mental health are all very powerful too. And I promise that if I can solve everything, would, and I think you would too. I think everybody here would. We just got to figure out how we can work together to do that. And speaking of, one of the things we're putting together now too, which is going to be a FEMA requirement, is a long-term recovery group. FEMA won't leave here until we've established this. It needs to be countywide. It needs to have the best interest of everybody in this county and representation from different segments, including nonprofits, business, governments, and all that. And that's going to be more focused on the individual side of things too. And some people say there's not a lot of help available for the individual, which is true, but there's actually more help for the individual as far as services that are provided directly, like at the armory, the disaster recovery center set up. There's more direct to help focus on getting those people through applications, through different processes, and bringing resources toward them to them. At Urban Utilities, we started something like a case management program that basically took a list of everybody who we early on identified as having lost service through this button, and called them to sort of figuring out how we can address their needs, make sure they're aware of different things. There are things like Appalachian Service Project, for rebuilding homes. We got to make sure that we're going to build those homes here. And then same with the Dollar Department's Foundation, I think it's called Mountain Ways, doing the same bit. Just making sure we organize our voices and keep that out there too. So, been involved in a lot of these conversations and just trying to make sure, that we're, delegating these things too. It's an incredibly difficult process to get answers. Nobody's going to bring you to you got to go, and knock down doors, and you got to go meet the right people. You got the right authority. It's just been a journey for sure. So, love for us to get all on the same page, and especially address citizen concerns. At least for the meeting, Friday in particular, economic development commissioner isn't going to be familiar with individual needs. He's focused on bringing and maintaining the street in the city. So he's really more focused there. I think the governor's office will be more concerned about making sure that we meet the individual needs. Concerned about quality of life. So a lot of things that are happening with that. I love talking on an individual basis. I'm picking up a lot of time. I'm sure everybody's, will be on, but yeah, I can start talking through a lot of the things we discussed. But we are working on those. We're hoping that we can also come out of this create a vision for the future. We have this gash in the middle of our county. We can't allow to be left that way. We are all in a position right now where we're given this extraordinary amount of responsibility on a few amount of people, but I think we also provide the occasion to figure it out. We haven't, and we will, and it's just about how to take those next steps. So, few updates more quickly, a little more positive. Well, after this next one, a little more positive. Sewer updates with County Uniform. We're working on that. Considering that our wastewater treatment plant was taken out with flood, expanding the sewer is not really on the table at the moment. And Johnson City has sold the property at Buffalo Back. So, so they get the property as is, no sewer, we can never buy it, and that's the figure out there. So most other projects I was working on at the backseat, there are some things that are just really going on. We got that workforce development grant. We're teaching work from home skills, entrepreneurship skills. New technology, those classes start on the 13th of January. We have a whole lot of needs for one year. I was part of assisting the Years Foundation with the Connected Communities Facilities Grant, to bring a digital opportunity center to the county. We won that grant, $2 million, and now it's just about executing that as well. And then the Real Wild Trails project we're working on with the consultant to kind of provide better access to our national forest. That's still ongoing. We completed phase one, and they've identified ways to make it kind of deploy a hub for hiking that are taking advantage of this and how citizens and visitors better access our resources. So hopefully those are probably the things come from that. Hopefully the things come from those efforts. And feel free to call me with individual questions or concerns. I feel like this is probably the dreariest update I've given you, but at least we make things happen. Hopefully we take some jobs.
Which property did you say that they allow us to see the millions?
$70 million worth of property. $70 million worth of property. Yeah. And that's just the assessed value, which is lower than what it's actually going to take to restore those properties. So losing that tax revenue,
Watch out for that property tax.
yeah. But we're all county residents, I'm just having to get it twice, but it goes up, we don't like to pay unnecessarily high taxes, but we can't let our community just fall into the dumpster either. So,
Down next door, no property tax.
yeah, we're going. Yeah, that's like the old walk. So,
She works under Judy. And not just her, people, just like this lady right here, I don't know how many meals her friends fed right here. But FEMA has done what they've done, David's done what they've done. But people would have starved to death if we hadn't had our own people helping each other. You know, this man right here, he's another, he's a brother made this church. It's everybody doing what they can do to help their fellow citizens. And I don't think these folks has got credit. I know a lot of people have called friends out of state that have business. Right now, they're bringing gift cards for kids. They're, everybody send that game, I think they're every month, they're trying to give up for it, you know, get relief for it. That's possible. But our people in our county and those cities, it's unreal how much they've given to help each other. And I go down to Washington County a lot. It's not that way down there. It's not that way there. And, you know, we talk about doing all this stuff. But people won't give the report. We don't have a lot of money. They have to spend. The county used to have to spend their hospital budget money, even products of it. We don't have money floating around like Washington County or Knox County or, so we have our own limits to accountability. And
You know, but you're right, though, you know, all this has been, you know, hectic frustrating, except for not seeing what people do. You know, I should have started out, you know, let's say, that, you know, we have 18,000 people here, overnight, you know, we made 18,000 euros, that's all 18,000 euros, you know, like, you know, incredible response.
we've never given any of those people credit. My daughter-in-law doesn't want any, but I wouldn't take the next call. She called her friends. She called me today, we want that present. You got some extra wrapping paper for me today? We need wrapping paper, we need buttons. You know, I mean, it's just as simple as that. I'm like, I'll get you something together. Walmart's, they're limited out on donations, she said, so you couldn't get in there. But it's just phone call, and different people and their group calling all their connections. And everybody's been keeping, I mean, it's unreal how many meals have been given that's needed. And those payments, that's not a big deal. They slide over the rest of it. You know, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, they asked to, you know, out how, you know, we for things like trailers and whatnot, we now all our stuff. Not every time, you know, health was happening.
Well, what y'all don't know, some of the highway patrolmen that work these highways over here, they stay in Pigeon Forge. And drove up here and drove back here, the winter says. Just saying, did stay in our counties, give us our money.
We lose one of them.
Yeah, but they can make it work, you know, I'm just saying, we're getting past up.
Yeah, I agree.
Those little things add up. It's not that big check, it's all them little checks that add up. I worry about it.
Yeah, it's a great place to live, great people. Any other questions? Thank you. Well, thank you all. Here's your time with us now. I think we've got a little bit better idea. Yeah, we should be able to do it. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Buffalo flag. Oh, Lacey.
I really think this money that came out to the Christmas Academy, it turned out to be pretty good. Nice turnout. And we got to, this person, music. And, I think everybody can do it. We did get to do some of our events this year because of the,
Oh, sir, we had a good time. Good food, good music. Okay. Okay, Vice Mayor.
This is the County Unified Planning Commission met on December 2nd, 2024, and under the new business was consideration and discussion of subdivision plat for the city of Johnson City, Buffalo Valley Division. After board discussion, along with our First Tennessee Development Agency, a representative from the County Unified and the realtor for the sale of the property, which was a total of 10 parcels. It was approved by unanimous vote upon contingent that one of the lots, which was described, submit a subdivision plat. Then there was no BCA meeting in the month of December due to no agenda items.
So in November, MHK was rented for 212 hours to 10 processing members. The active member count was 30, and there were 3 tours, one of which was rural resources in Greenville, so potential partnerships, not a new client. The client hour breakdown, one client had 90.5 hours, down to a couple that only did 1. You'll see a year-to-year comparison in which year we're in now. We didn't have any classes in November. Again, 212 hours rented to 10 processing clients. The hourly booking revenue was $4,154. We had 10 storage clients that equaled $965. And then fee revenue was $218.50. And then deposits were $750. So going forward, I'll list deposits separately because they're put into a liability account, which means it will be given back to the client eventually. So going forward, you'll see deposits are kept separate from revenue. But our total revenue amount with the deposit was $6,117.70. And then our next chart here is month to month. So you'll see all the way back till April. April was our last class. We didn't have a class in November. We had more hours in October. Some of our clients were doing hurricane relief meals in October. So they did have more hours then. Again, 10 processing clients. We did have more revenue in November. Some of the October hours were discounted because of the hurricane relief efforts. So the hourly booking revenue, again, $4,154.20. 20 clients, storage revenue, fee and deposits, again, totaling $6,117.70, which is the most we have had all year.
I noticed you had your revenue.
Yes, we have.
Is that how you got on there?
On the kitchen, yes.
Okay, however, do the parks recreation.
So for our communications, you either have a business card or it's ordered for you, and we'll have it for you soon. The letterhead's been updated, website's updated. Whenever there's a new city recorder hired, all of that will get updated again. The Christmas open house was a good turnout. The room was full. We thank everyone who came. We did plan for more people, but next year we're going to reduce the number and plan for about 50. There was a good article in the Irwin Record that talked about the open house and our 30th anniversary that we also celebrated. There were several advertisements in the Irwin Record that you'll see coming up. One was the Christmas Home for the Holidays and coloring book, and then the calendar ads for next year, the Strawberry Festival in May, and the Freedom Fest in July. So did not do this year's Apple tab. I'll make sure it's done next year. And there are some other advertisements that we might not have done next year, but some of the board members told me they want us to see done. So I'm going to contact the Irwin Record to make sure those get done. So coming for next year, the 2025 Strawberry Festival will be May 17th. We've already started planning, but big planning will happen in January. We have one band tentatively booked the Bailey George and the Hit Paraders. Freedom Fest, July 4th, is a Friday. And then one thing that's not on your board report, because this happened after I submitted it or around the same time, but part of what the indemnity policy that Todd had to update, the insurance provider said, you need to update these things. One of those was a sign in Jack Snyder Park, basically that says the play equipment is intended for children ages 5 to 12 years. Adult supervision is recommended. So we have that ordered, and we should get that in the next week or two, and maintenance will install that at the park. And that's all I have.
We'll have Jeremy Rice, the chief of police. For the police department, we have 146 calls from November 18th to the other day. No maintenance. We have 41 traffic stops. And 15 citations. But the speed, everybody's complaining about speed. Mr. Anderson is saying, I go on more than the road and stop. You know, so you said they pick up 15 minutes all the time. That's not all I have. And they have been trouble. Oh, well, I've been. David Hester.
Okay, court report for November the 1st through November the 30th. Total payments that were received in the month of November was $1,436.25. Out of that, we paid litigation tax of $121.28, and Department of Safety fines, $109.25, municipal training and education fees of $8.55. And CSI fees of $300. So the net disbursement of revenue is $897.17. So the ticket listing that I have for the month of November, and on your report, if you see Nick Hughes, that's really Chris, and that's been changed. So not until after I had already printed this report. So we had 2 tickets for violation of proof of insurance law. One was improper display of tags. One was driving without license and possession. One was loose material. I don't really know what that means, but maybe. Loose material, okay. And then I had 3 that was speeding tickets and 2 was for light law violation.
Financial report.
Okay, the balance sheet, the current assets, which includes cash in the bank, cash in savings, and state investment pool, is $1,448,935. Our 3 accounts that we have at local government investment pool, the interest rate has gone from 4.94 down to 4.74. This includes a savings account, includes our ARPA funds, which is now at $424,966, and then the Snyder endowment of $112,439.50. We have our certificate of deposit. We have 2 at Mountain Commerce Bank, $106,223, and also $124,000. 2 certificates there at Mountain Commerce, and then we have a certificate of deposit at First Horizon, and it's $130,000. It's drawn 4.95%. And the money market is 4%, but it fluctuates with the market, and it's about $293,510.85. The 2 at Mountain Commerce Bank, one is 4.15, and it's a 5-month. And then the other interest on the CD is 4.35, and it's for 13 months. On our financials, if you want to turn over to that summary financial statement by fund. On the general fund, for the month of the November, revenue was $178,303. Year to date, it was $854,213.19. For the month in the general fund, the expenses are at $157,382, so that gives net income of the month of $20,920. Year to date, the expenditures are at $773,212, and the net income year to date is $81,017.65. That's for the first 5 months. The Mountain Harvest Kitchen, for the month, the revenue was $6,217.80. Expenditures were at $7,050.53, and that leaves $832 negative net income. So for year to date, we're at revenue of $20,426, and expenditures year to date $48,880. So year to date, there's a net income loss of $28,454 for the kitchen. And I believe you all budgeted close to $60,000 to transfer to the general fund at the end of the year. We did have an expenditure in the drug fund, that was for, I think, a radar gun, and it was about, I think, $6,000 or $7,000.
There you go. I hear a motion approved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Call roll.
Alderman Day,
Yes.
Alderman Wayman,
Yes.
Alderman Phillips,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Radford. Yes. Mayor McIntyre.
Yes. Okay. Do you have any announcements? Anybody want to say anything else?
And we've got the city reporter report.
Okay.
Okay, so we didn't have much on infrastructure. We had one invoice after the meeting that was paid in the November meeting. So that was for Bowman Construction, and it was for actually cleaning out ditches. Terrence Lake Drive, there was 520 feet. Whispering Pines Road was 3,036 feet. Poplar Road, 4,453 feet, and Marbleton Road, 3,249 feet. And the total is 11,258 feet, and the cost was $21,390. So it's the only thing I have, and so far in December, we don't have anything infrastructure-wise, unless there's something that you all think needs to be done within the next month or so.
No, we're gonna get started on last Tuesday. Work on that. And
Okay,
if anything else comes up,
Okay.
outside of that, we'll get it done.
Okay, so the update on Massachusetts Avenue, the bid advertisement will be in the newspaper on December the 23rd in the Johnson City Press. The bid packets will go out then, sent out to contractors at their request, and then it may be posted on Builders Exchange also. I have a copy of what will be in the paper if you all want to take a look at it. The pre-bid meeting will be Friday, January the 3rd, 2025 at 10 a.m. It'll be held up here at the Truth Information Center. And I don't know if you have that down or not, but they will be here. It'll be a Zoom call, but they actually would like to have a representative of the town that would be here as well. And this is where they will discuss the project, and it will give the contractors opportunity to ask questions. And so someone from the board needs to be.
Okay, I'll be both.
Okay. So
on Tuesday, January the 14th at 10 a.m. for the Information Center. That's when the bid opening will be. And anybody can come for that, you know. Obviously, we want to have somebody on board. These ARPA funds will be allocated this year, which I'm pretty sure they've already been allocated. And then they must be spent by December the 2026. That will be the end of it. We're underway with our city reporter interviews, and we have 3 top candidates that will be interviewed, second round of interviews, and that will be Wednesday. And I think we'll have probably a decision by the end of the week. Let's see reporter.
No, we don't need to vote on that information.
No.
Okay. And 2, we won't thank the Williams Christian Church. We had volunteers to help with the stuff. And thank you very much. We couldn't have done it. We had to make this guy's help. We had to volunteer. We couldn't have done it right. That's really, really good. Appreciate it.
Do you want to go over the graphs?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sales tax, local option sales tax. So from July to November, we've collected $439,306. So if you look at the first 5 months of the previous year, we've increased the revenue $33,883. And that's a pretty good increase for the first 5 months. Local option sales tax. Then the state shared taxes for the first 5 months were at $195,850. And for the first 5 months of the previous year, we were at $189,023. So we've increased the state shared revenue by $6,827.
Is there anything else for it?
Okay.
Is that it?
No.
Okay. Hey, and we're gonna have our first employee meeting on Wednesday. I think everybody's excited about that. Yeah. We're going to see if we can get our whole week. So, but I appreciate everybody being here.
Say one thing, here on his report. I was by Rachel's office one day when she was working on the inspection. And it said to me, you know, folks, if we stand any chance at all of getting any federal help, any state help, I feel good about Governor Lee. But we need to get behind our senator, our starter, and one of our own right here in this county, Renee Jones. With the legislature from reconvening here first of the year, and hopefully those people can get us some relief on this. So, you know, if we were a county, what Washington County is, something like that, but, you know, there's not people lined up down our road where we live. Want building permits to get into this county or anything. You know, we are going to be legislated really with taxes, or like big stuff like that, you know, thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody, thank you for hearing me out.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Anderson.
Everybody have a good Christmas. See you next year.
Not yet. Hang on, we have to move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. All in
Third.
all in favor? Aye.
I thought Mr. Anderson adjourned it. Ooh, I got a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding, they were closed either the end of last week or first of this week. So I'll keep an eye on the, rest of the dates. See when it started, to get the information. Kind of what we're doing right now is, I don't own it yet. And then we're like, well, I'm selling it. So as soon as that deed is going in, the new owner is on the record, I'm sending a letter to them. Hey, you need to be my.
Yeah, I just wondered if it's a product.
Oh, you turned me back on.
That's what I'm waiting on. See,
Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of activity.
yeah, Jeremy's been up there a couple times. And our building inspector was last week. And I met him on Monday, Friday. What they say? Yeah, I met him Friday. He started Wednesday last week. I met him Friday. Say, hey, here's, in case you don't know what's going on, I get run down. Like, so hopefully he'll be at there. But I'm Ryan Plaintiff. Doing our business previously, it's off for about 2 weeks now. I've got the same thing. I don't know yet. I'm just dropping off supplies.
Yeah, it's a mix of supplies. Supplies to help the way. I don't have a problem with, but they're all checked. And the proceeds are saying this is impossible. By January, I think probably more to try to get this.
Probably,
Yeah, because there's no way it's anywhere near ready to ready.
that thing would be months, before we could be happy to take it from her, you know?
Yeah, there's,
Yes, yeah.
okay, well, thanks for your update. Bye.